Heading into RV shows and dealerships without a plan is never a good idea. We learned this the hard way, and we're here with 4 tips that you have to know. You absolutely have to know these tips before you step foot into any RV show and any dealership.
Absolutely. You need to know these things, and we're really excited to share them with you. It's going to be a fun ride.
Because it is so overwhelming. We learned this the hard way. It's extremely overwhelming when you are bombarded with salespeople who are pushy and a million different floor plans and different layouts and different brands and builds of RVs. I was so exhausted after the very first RV show that we went to, and it was in Toronto. So it was like the biggest one, in,
biggest
Canada,
one in Canada,
probably.
It was overwhelming.
I was so exhausted after.
It was a blur.
And I had no idea what I even looked at. It borderline was a waste of time because we didn't do any of these 4 things that we're going to recommend in this video. And that's why we decided to do this video to help you guys out. If you guys are new to our channel, we're Rebecca and Chad, and we're in the process of selling our house and downsizing and moving into an RV full time. Currently, our house is for sale, waiting for it to sell so we can buy an RV and go live on the road.
Yeah, really excited about it. We're taking you guys on this really fun journey. A lot of RV channels out there don't actually start at the beginning. They start only after they're in the RV, or maybe they're a year or 2 into being a full-time RV person. And so we're doing the entire process start to finish. And our house is for sale right now. It's been on the market about 3 weeks, and we're really excited to take you on this journey.
If you're anything like us, when we started to think about this idea of selling our house and moving into an RV full time, we were so excited that we didn't think anything through. And ironically, the same weekend that we decided to make this big decision and actually start to move the needle forward on the whole process of putting our home for sale, it actually happened to fall on the weekend of the huge Toronto RV show. So obviously we were very excited to go to that.
Yeah. So like anybody, we were a kid in a candy store, just looking at every RV. We didn't know if we wanted a drivable one, a big one, a small one, a medium. We had no clue. We just were like looking at everything.
I didn't even know that there was different kinds of RVs. No. Like I didn't know there's drivable ones, there's trailers, there's fifth wheels. I had no idea what a fifth wheel even was. No. I just had no clue what I was walking into. And I think it really showed. I feel like it really showed.
It was a blur.
Yeah. And since then, we've gone to different dealerships. We've gone to another RV show, a smaller, more local one. And we have learned some really, really helpful tips for you guys. And stick around till the end of the video because our last tip is the most important, and it will absolutely make or break your entire RV shopping experience. So you're not going to want to miss out on that.
Yeah, we wish that we knew this before we went to the Toronto RV show. It would have saved us a ton of overwhelm. We had to figure all these things out after the fact, where we could have asked the right questions, really got into what mattered most.
Or watch some YouTube videos before we went for advice like this to help us through. And if you're someone who is dreaming of RV life, whether it's selling your house or just skipping home ownership altogether and just going right into the RV lifestyle, then you're going to want to subscribe to our channel because we're going to be putting out lots and lots of videos full of helpful tips and tricks to get you there faster and much smarter and with a lot less pain.
Yeah. We're really excited for you guys to come on this journey. We're going to have lots of videos explaining the entire experience. So we're excited to have you along for the ride.
Tip number 1 is to make a list and know what you're looking for before you go. This tip is so, so important. And it's something that I really wish that we did before we went to the Toronto RV show, because it was a huge opportunity for us to see the things that we would have actually wanted to see and remember, which we have no recollection of. Fun fact, we actually walked through the dream RV that we really want to get, and we were inside of it in the Toronto RV show and don't remember a damn thing about it. So so that really goes to show you want to start with a list. You want to watch some YouTube videos, do some research and education before you go. Don't just walk into this blindly, and not just RV shows, but dealerships as well, because the more you know, the better you're able to get what you want and the more confident that you show up. So you want to make sure that you have your list with you. know what type of RV you want to get. Do you want to get a drivable one? Do you want to get a fifth wheel? Do you want to get one that is a trailer that you pull behind you? You want to really get to these details. And even more than that, just take it a step further, you want to have an idea of what kind of layout you want. I had no idea that there was like a bajillion freaking layouts of where the bedroom versus the kitchen versus
Exactly. So
all of these things.
even when you narrow it down to the style of RV you want,
so
there is
options.
Still so many different brands within that style and so many different floor plans as well within that style. So it's really funny to think back before we went to this massive RV show that now, like, it just felt like a blur. We had no idea. We did no research whatsoever. We just showed up and we're like, hi, I want an RV.
I want to see them all, actually. That's what I
we've seen them all. Do. And they went in one ear and right out the other. And that's the problem.
And they all started to blend together. I couldn't differentiate between any of them. I really gained no further clarity other than this lifestyle is definitely fun and this is definitely what I want to do. But I didn't gain any further clarity on the type of RV that I wanted or anything else. It was just kind of a fun afternoon. And it wasn't until we got home that we're like, okay, we really need to like figure this shit out here, because there's so many different options and different brands. So what we did was we thought about the rooms that we use the most in our house and what we really need to have on the road with us that are non-negotiables. Because the thing is, when you're looking at all of these different layouts, I will be like, oh, I love this one that has like a huge bathroom and then it has a huge walk-in closet in an RV, which is still insane to me. But I would be drawn to something like that, even though realistically, that space would be better used somewhere else, because I'm not going to be spending a whole lot of time in my bathroom and my closet. So you really have to know what you're looking for and realize that if you gain the space there, you're sacrificing it in other spaces.
Yeah, so that's the key. It's not like a house where it's like, okay, well, that room's whatever, and then we got another room and who cares? No, there's only a certain amount of square footage that you're going to have in the rig that you choose. And so it is imperative that you realize, like, what is the thing that matters the most to you? Because like you said, there were some that had really nice, like beautiful big bathrooms. Yeah. But then you're like, oh, I have this tiny living room or this tiny little office space. Like, I'd rather not have a massive bathroom. Like, how much time am I really going to be in there? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So you really have to think about how you're going to be using it in your day-to-day life. And for Chad and I, because we work full time, we work remotely, we both need separate offices. I do a podcast. Well, he joins me on the podcast a lot of the time, but even for a podcast or audiobook recording, I need my own quieter space at the opposite end. So we need to have opposite end offices. And so that means that he's going to be working out of the bedroom most likely, and I'm going to be working in a toy hauler set up as an office. But we made that decision early on because we knew that was a non-negotiable for us.
Chad seems to think that this should be our office space when we move into our fifth wheel RV. He thinks that this is appropriate amount of space.
Perfect office space. Look at it. We can work at the same table. We can snuggle on up and just get some work done. What do you think?
I don't think there's any work getting done. A little too close for me.
Too close for comfort? Why not?
That's why it's so important to go and get a feel and actually sit down and visualize and do a walkthrough and see what your day-to-day life is going to be, and kind of, I don't know, like picture what you would do in your typical daily life. Like if you work remotely, then you're probably not going to want to work like this.
Why not? What's wrong with this?
A little too close for me.
So if you're watching this, maybe, you're retired. You don't need an office space. Well, yeah, that's fine. You can actually have other areas that give you exactly what you big bathroom
and a walk-in closet.
Big bedroom, big space, like in general. But if you're somebody who needs an office, maybe you only need one office. Maybe only one person's working, the other's not. So then you just have like a separate office, or maybe that person can work in the main living space. That's okay. But for us, because we're both working, we're working separately, we're doing separate things, and we need it to be quiet and kind of not enter each other's faces for more than one reason. That's it. We have to we need a toy hauler to be at opposite ends, closed doors, so that we're not breathing down each other's neck, right?
Exactly. And again, if your lifestyle is somebody who travels with kids, like that's going to mean that you're going to need a different setup. Exactly. You're going to need bunk beds or different sleeping spaces. So making a list before you go is our first point, because that is something that we really needed to do. And since we did that, and now when we go to dealerships, we don't even look at anything that is not what we are going to need, because it's just going to create confusion and it's just a complete waste of time, to be honest. So Tip number 2 is to take photos and have a list of notes as you're going through each of the options at the dealership or at the RV shows, and make sure that they're labeled so you know which photo goes with which list, because I guarantee it, after you look at like the fifth RV, like they're going to start to look the same. You're going to get confused and you're not going to know which one was which, which one was your favorite. So it's really important to have a list when you're at the dealership or at the RV show, and take lots of photos, get some video footage. You want to come home with stuff that's going to help you with your decision-making process. Of course, it's a fun day out, but like you want to gain some knowledge.
Yeah,
from
don't think that you're just going to remember it all.
You're not going to
right?
remember. No.
Write some things down, take lots of notes, really get into all the details of the stuff that you want. And we want you guys to learn from our mistake where we went there and we had no clue what we were doing. And we just basically were like, all right, that was only a fun time. That was not even like productive.
It was fun. But then now I'm like, now that I know more what I want, I would love the RV show.
We want to come back. We're like,
I would love the Toronto one to be this weekend so that I'm going into it more prepared.
Yeah. Now I'm ready. Can you guys come back?
Tip number 3 is when you are RV shopping, whether it's at a show or a dealership, is to politely and very kindly ask the salesperson to give you guys some quiet space and not just be hovering around the whole time. I don't know if you guys are like this, but it drives me nuts because I'm an introvert. So I need time to quietly process things, look around, feel things out. I want to sit in the space. I want to do all of these things. And I do not want a salesperson like yipping in my ear the entire time trying to sell me or show me selling features. Like I want to just go at my own pace in a quiet space. I can't even think when somebody is talking in my ear the whole time.
And the problem with the salespeople, and once again, I'm sure like anything, there's good ones, bad ones, ones that care and ones that don't as much. But the thing is, they'll be like, oh, this has like suede or whatever, like on a piece of furniture. But it's like, I don't give a shit about the suede.
Right. Yeah.
And so things that they care about, you may not care about, and things you care about, they don't even think to bring up. So it's just irrelevant. You just say, listen, if I have questions, I'll let you know. Get them to kind of, be nice, of course. But yeah, you want to have your own space.
They will leave and let you enjoy the space and whatever, and then you can reconvene after the fact. But they will give you that space, but you do have to ask for it most of the time, which is what we found. Because they're trying to be helpful. I feel like most of the time they're trying to just be helpful and be there if you have any questions. But for me, I like to come to my own opinions and terms for things. So if I have questions, I will ask, but I don't like when somebody's trying to oversell me things. Because at the end of the day, I know if it's something that I like or something that's going to work for me or not. So it's really important to be very clear, kind, and direct with the salespeople and let them know that. And again, if you're not ready to make that purchase that day, under no circumstances should you feel bad or obligated to do so, regardless of how many incentives they throw at you or how pushy they are. I guarantee you, at the end of the day, if you called them in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now, they're going to give you the same deal.
Yeah, so here's the thing. A lot of times they'll say, oh, there's an RV show only deal, or there's a, today special. I mean, this is all sales tactics. Yeah. So you don't have to fall for that, guys. Like any deal that they have going on that they claim is not going to be around if you leave, we all know
they'll make it happen.
Back. They'll make it happen if you call them. They'll be excited to make it happen if they hear from you out of the blue. Okay?
Exactly.
So keep that in mind. You don't have to feel pressure.
No, and nor should you. It should be a fun experience. You shouldn't feel bad or guilty. If at the end of the showing or the end of the tour that they give you, they ask you if you're going to make a purchase or not, just kindly say, nope, we're still looking. Or for us, when we go and look, we're like, no, our home's still for sale. We're not committing to anything at this point until our house sells. So you just have to have clear communication and realize that the salespeople are there to make a sale, right? Like, of course, there's good ones and bad ones and more pushy than others, but that's what their intention is. So they're going to ask you probably more than 5 ways and try to get the sale that day. That is their goal. That's how they make their money. That's their livelihood. So having a little bit of empathy for that, but still standing your ground and being assertive enough to be like, nope, I appreciate your help. You've been awesome, but it's not going to happen today.
Yeah. And when all else fails, like I was doing earlier, just resort to karate.
Or don't.
Or don't.
Now, as we mentioned, Tip number 4 is the most important thing that we have learned in our whole search for an RV, and that is to go and see the actual RV that you want to have. If it's an option to be able to rent it before time, that is a bonus. If you can go on Outdoorsy or an app to find one to rent.
2 years ago, Rebecca and I rented an RV and we drove all the way across Canada from Ontario to PEI.
So we spent our first night in the RV and it took us a little while to fall asleep just because it is so random, sleeping in a random parking lot in a city that you don't even know. And also the generator that makes the AC work overnight is super loud, and it kind of vibrates your body a little bit. So it took a little bit of getting used to for that. But once we fell asleep, it was actually pretty comfortable, and the bed itself was really comfortable, although very small, like I said, but manageable for sure. So today we are going to drive as far as we can towards the East Coast area, and we'll see how far we get. Chad's just out for a run right now. We're at a park area, and I'm gonna get out and go for a little walk to stretch my legs since we're gonna be in the car for a little while. So that's the plan for today.
Beautiful trip.
So
it's
fun.
not necessarily the RV we're considering today. It was amazing for a 1-week vacation, a little bit smaller than what we're looking for, because in order to live in it full time and work remotely, we do need something a bit bigger, as we talked about earlier. But what a great experience that was, because so many friends and family have said, oh, try this first and see if you like it before. And so we did that.
Well, and I think that experience did give us the clarity of that we don't want an RV that size because it doesn't work for our lifestyle right now. Maybe if we didn't have to work remotely, but we also have 2 dogs. So it'll be 2 of us and 2 dogs. So we do need a bigger space for where we're at right now. So it did create a lot of clarity to rent that RV and see what it's like to live in a smaller size. It was more like a van life type van.
Yeah.
And so, it's really important to go find a dealership that has the model that you're actually thinking about and spend some decent amount of time in the RV going about your day-to-day life. Like how is the cooking going to work? How is pretend that he's in his office working right now. And then you go to your side and you pretend that you're working, do all of the things. If you normally sit down and watch Netflix at the end of the day together, sit down and pretend like you're doing that. You want to get a really good feel of what it feels like to do the stuff that you normally do in your regular house right now in a smaller space and see how it feels. How is the layout?
Absolutely. And so Rebecca and I are big on visualization. So we visualize, the things that we want in our life and the things that, really matter. And how does that look like? And what would a typical day be like? And, how is this going to feel? What's it going to be like? We're certainly not naive to things that'll break down. There's going to be things that'll happen. We understand that. But at the same time, the lifestyle, it creates so much beauty too and adventure. And so we're definitely looking at all angles. But when it comes to visualizing yourself in the RV, walking here to the bathroom, to the couch, to the office, experiencing these things as if it was the reality of today, even though it's not, is absolutely huge. And just take it. And that's why you can't have, the salesperson, and you need your own space, take lots of pictures, make lots of notes, really feel the environment for what it's going to be, and see if that does it for you emotionally, if it strikes that chord.
Yeah, and it might create the clarity that you were looking for, or it might invoke you to look at another model or another layout to see if that works better for you, or maybe even another style of RV. Like if you thought you wanted a 5th wheel, but now you're like, no, actually, I kind of want a drivable one now. We also watch a lot of YouTube videos of people who have bought really big, large rigs and have decided to downsize and get smaller ones so that they can go into certain parks and certain areas, because there are restrictions on sizes, right? And that's something that we've had to come to terms with compromising on, because for us, size matters. Size does matter. Did I go there?
PG-13. So anyway, the point is,
matter for us in downsizing, because
there's families with kids watching this.
Our house is so large, so we do need a lot of space. So that's why I made the decision that, we are going to sacrifice being able to go into certain spots because our rig is going to be so large.
We're not going to be able to go into certain parks. And if you have a drivable vehicle and you're able to go smaller, smaller is typically a better option.
It has a lot of pros to
there's
it.
way more. Yeah, you can really, small spaces, parking spaces, different campgrounds that only allow a certain amount of feet. It's not as bulky to kind of move around to park. There's
There's so many pros.
Honestly, if we were retired, we probably would have got a smaller one, right?
Yeah, if I was single, I would just have a little van lifer van with my dog, and I would just be doing that. I would not be towing a fifth wheel big rig, but luckily
she's not single, so that's
I'm not single. So
not
this is
single,
great.
so that doesn't matter, and that's not going to happen, right? So anyway, here we are
Not
today.
anytime soon. The other thing to keep in mind when you're pretending like you actually live in it and doing a day in the life of the RV that you want to get is to see, like, what is the space like? For me, for example, the bathroom and the one that we want to get is pretty small. It's one of the smaller bathrooms. Luckily, it has 1.5 bathrooms, so there's 2 toilets. But for me, I like to do my hair, I like to do my makeup, I like to get ready. And the space, it does feel very small and a little bit cramped to blow dry my hair and get ready and all the things and do my makeup. So I plan to get a little tabletop mirror and be able to do it on my desk in the toy hauler. And I've done this before, like in my actual house, I had a setup that I have like just an IKEA table and a mirror that I plug in. It has lights and I do my makeup at that table. And that really helps to free up space in the bathroom. I don't have to feel so crammed in a bathroom. So it's little things like that that actually make a huge difference when you go to actually try to do it or visualize yourself doing it. If you can't visualize yourself in that space, then when you get there and you put it to the real test, it's going to be really upsetting.
Yeah, so we want to hear from you guys in the comments below. What are some non-negotiables that you need to have in your rig? Is it I need to have an office? Is it I need a big living room? Is it I need a big bathroom, a big like walk-in closet? I don't know. Everybody's different. Or maybe you need it small so that you don't want to feel overwhelmed towing this large rig or driving this huge Class A motorhome. Like, what is it for you? We'd love to hear from you. Leave it in the comments below.
We wanted to do this video to let you guys know that RV shopping or looking around or browsing and just getting an idea and a feel for what you're looking for does not and should not feel super overwhelming. And it should feel like an enjoyable experience if you follow all of our 4 tips. Hopefully they will help you make a clearer decision and make the process more enjoyable for you.
So if you found these tips helpful, please subscribe because we got lots more videos in the work to document our entire journey from selling our home to a life of adventure to buying the RV that we want to traveling all across North America. We're so excited to have you here. So hit the subscribe button, comment below, let us know what you're excited to see, any other videos that you'd like to see us do. And yeah, we're just getting started.